Have you ever read your favorite book of all time and felt like it hit harder the second time? That's how I feel about Redeeming Love by Francine Rivers. I by no means consider myself a romance reader. It's one of my least read genres, but for this to be my favorite book of all time says a lot about its depth and emotional weight. This is not your typical light and fluffy romance story. And quite honestly, calling it a romance, in my opinion, does it a disservice. There's so much more to this story. What makes Redeeming Love stand out for me is the rawness in the exploration of trauma, redemption, and what that very long healing process looks like. The story follows our main character, Angel, as she has experienced neglect and abuse from a very young age, and we follow her all throughout her adulthood. And let me tell you, her journey is anything but easy. What I loved most about this story is that it was not just some quick and neat happy ending that ends up with this lovey-dovey, fluffy, happily ever after. This book does not shy away from all of that hard, ugly, unseen work that you have to do to recover from trauma. And that's what makes it feel so real, even though it's set in a historical time period. What really struck me hard is how this story portrays Angel's bruising from the inside and on the outside. You're getting a great introspection from her perspective, and you're also getting other characters' perceptions of her and how that wars with her on the inside. The story explored here with her wasn't just about the trauma that she endured, it's about what she carried, what she internalized on herself, what she projected outward, how isolating that can feel, how it warps your sense of self-worth, and it just completely leaves you unable to trust anyone, even yourself. Now, Francine Rivers does not rush Angel's healing process. She takes her time with Angel, and no word is wasted, in my opinion. It's not just that she meets her happily ever after new man and everything's magically okay. And being more realistic on that side is painful, but that's what makes this story worth its weight in gold. Angel's got a lot of hard work to do. It takes a lot of small steps forward, many steps back, a lot of backsliding, a lot of moments of doubt, a lot of mistrust, a lot of hurting other people. And honestly, that felt so raw and so human because healing is not a clean process. It's not wrapped up in a nice, pretty bow just for the sake of giving the reader a happily ever after. And I've always really been drawn to stories where characters have to do some internal work to get their healing. And it reminds me a lot of the character work done in A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara and in Long Shot by Kennedy Ryan. I think if you loved any one of these three books, then you need to read the others. But back to Angel. Angel's redemption isn't just tied up in finding Michael. It's about her reclaiming her self-worth, herself as a woman, seeing herself as a friend, and just being able to move forward despite her past. There is a profound message of grace and finding healing even when you don't feel like you deserve it. And that's why I say just calling this a romance does this book a disservice. But I get it. It's only so many categories you can fit into a bookstore. And what I really feel like shines in actually all three of these books that I just mentioned is that you really feel a deep sense of isolation with all of these characters, especially with Angel. There was a slow process to forgiveness. There was a constant demonstration of imperfect faith, and it just had these layers of small improvements, even mixed in with some setbacks in there that just really felt so real, and it felt reflective of our human experience. So whether or not you will connect with the religious aspects of it, because this is a Christian historical fiction romance, I still think that you would find a lot of value in this story. This captures love in not just a romantic love, a familial love, a platonic love, and just all about how we interact with each other in our human experience. I love this book to pieces, and now I need to wait another 12 years so I can forget all of the details and read it again like the first time. And I think the most empowering part to this story in both of these books, I would say Long Shot and Redeeming Love, is that our female main character, yes, the catalyst to their healing does come from a new love interest, but that is not the sole power of their own individual healing. They work on themselves in these stories. It's not just about finding a man to save them. I enjoyed my reread of Redeeming Love. It has been so long since I have reread it. I intentionally waited this long. I wanted to wait until I forgot most of the details. I still remember the broad strokes of it, but I wanted to give myself some space to be able to read this book like it's the first time all over again. And it brought tears to my eyes again. So if you have read this book, Let me know. If you haven't, please tell me when you're going to read it. I will not take no for an answer.